Okay guys, this is my third try, so I'm just gonna go with it, whatever I say. I'm Sarah, and this is my channel, The Rocking Chair Stitcher. This is my 5th floss tube, and yeah, I'm on my 2nd cup of coffee, and this is my functioning level, so I apologize in advance, but if you've watched any of my other videos, this is pretty normal. I blame it on not having enough coffee, but it's pretty normal. But it has been an extra week, I think, more than because I have been putting my videos out every 2 weeks, and I got sick with COVID, and it laid me out. Josh had to take a whole week off work. That's like the sickest I've been in quite some time. And it was yucky. So for several days I literally just slept and laid in bed, and I watched lots of Flosstube. Did not do much stitching those first couple of days because like I lost like almost all my muscle strength. Like my arms and my legs and my hands like just ached, and there was no way I was gonna stitch. And then after like the 3rd day, I think, or 4th day, then I could stitch some. And managed to sit up in bed and stitch. So I am thankfully pretty much better. Still have my normal sinus stuff going on, but I'm finished with that, and somehow by miracle neither my husband nor Justin got it, which is really, really good because Justin has a low immune system, and we have to be really careful of what he can catch and him getting sick. And so I did not hold him or kiss him or even really play with him for that whole week, which was torture, but he got good quality time with his papa, and he didn't get sick, so that's the most important thing. So that's why a little delay in putting out my video. I was like, no, I was doing so good being on a schedule, and real life happens. So I was thinking about even trying to do it while I was sick, and I was like, nobody's gonna want to watch that. I'm not gonna want to video it. So anyway, that's life. So I am filming today in our new bedroom. I didn't get any video clips of the setup, but at some point I will, and I'll put them in another floss tube. But we are in our new bedroom. The green walls. I am just, oh, I love it. I was a little nervous because I thought maybe it would be like cave-like because how dark it is. But because we have these really, really big windows, it lets in plenty of light. So, and you can really appreciate and enjoy the old beams, I think, in contrast to the walls, the green. It just, oh, I love it. I love restoring this house kind of back to like thinking like when it was built in the 1920s, like kind of like with modern conveniences and modern electrical and plumbing and stuff, but kind of taking the style back. So very, very excited at this room. And these are the original beams. This room was, and the rooms above it, or room above it, were an addition onto that part. So they basically smushed 2 houses together. And you can see I've got my tree up. And it's not lit, it's not decorated yet. I'm just fluffing because Josh made a compromise with me. We can get a fake tree if we have 2 trees, and one will be real. So he'll have his, he's got to water it and clean up after it, and I'll have my fake tree. But what I did not realize is how much work goes into a fake tree with fluffing. And wear long sleeves and wear gloves, because holy cow, those branches will eat your arms. So I'm slowly working my way at fluffing. The top is way more fluffed, and then back here still needs some work, and then the bottom is definitely not fluffed, but we'll get there. Justin just keeps coming up to it, and he'll kind of just pat the branches, and he crawls away and comes back and pats the branches. During the last 3 weeks, since I think it's been 3 weeks since my last video, we had Justin's birthday. He turned 3. Justin took his first steps all by himself, and we've been working with a physiotherapist, and we're going to be going to a specialist for physio soon, hopefully. And he just decided to start standing up about a month and a half ago, maybe, and then all of a sudden last week or a week and a half ago, he's like, I'm gonna step. And so he started taking steps. So my mama heart is like overflowing watching his development and changes, and yeah, I could cry because it just, he's going to do everything in his own time, in his own way. And he understands a lot of things, but doesn't necessarily want to do them. And then he'll randomly pull them out. Like, so for instance, a couple of months ago, I started showing him how to blow a kiss. Had no interest. He loves to give kisses, but never to blow one. And then when I was sick and couldn't be like touching him and stuff, I'd sit on the stairs separated by the baby gate, and he was a ways off from me, so he couldn't be too close. And so he started out of nowhere blowing kisses, and none of us did it, like Josh nor I showed him again. So it's been months. So he'll like retain information and then pull it out when he's ready to. So he's quite the little guy. So much personality. Yeah, so I think that's kind of the updates. Just doing life at this point. So I've got my coffee. This week we had, it's hunting season. I think someone's shooting very nearby. I don't know, it's slamming something really loud. My window's open. Okay, we'll just keep going. We had friends come this week. Thankfully I was finally feeling better, so that timing worked out really well. And they came from Ontario to visit. And years ago, I traveled around with the husband of the couple on a travel team promoting a college, and there was several of us on the team, and we came out to the Maritimes out here and visited churches and youth groups and a school or two, and then we worked with him and his wife years ago in Ontario as well. So it was just really, really fun. They're a good friend couple. And we love to play board games together. So they went trick-or-treating with us. We took Justin to like 5 houses, and man, people give kids so much stuff. We took my tiny little clothespin basket, and I thought, oh, this will be plenty. Like, I mean, it's like, okay, I say tiny, but it's like this big, but it's really shallow. And I thought, oh, like 5 houses, like 5 or 6 pieces of candy. No, like a can of soda, bags of chips at every house. I'm like, you don't need to grocery shop for a week after that. Not really, but I mean, if you're just gonna eat soda and chips, but yeah. So anyway, they went with us trick-or-treating. We came back, fed Justin dinner, and he went to bed, and we ate his chips and candy. We saved him a little, but we ate his chips and candy and played a new board game to us called Stardew Valley, which has been really fun. That was really fun playing with them. And we got a specialty coffee for while they were here, because there's a little cafe down the shore that you pay like $17 a pound for the coffee. So it's not cheap, but it's so good. So good. Or as I've heard some Maritimers say A1. Never heard that before, but A1 means it's great. So yeah, so we get that when we have guests coming, or at the holidays we'll get a bag or two just for like the special coffee. So I am just enjoying, they're gone, but I'm still enjoying the benefits of having guests, is the guest coffee that comes out. So hopefully sipping this will keep me from getting too scratchy. But without further ado, if you're still here, I thought I would share with you what I've been doing, my stitching, and last time I was talking about trying to come up with some gift ideas. And I came up with some gift ideas, and I'm really, really bad for then just giving the gift. Because if I come up with it too early, then I just give him the gift because I'm so excited about the gift. So I already gave Josh his Christmas gift, but I'll make him something else. But I just couldn't help it. So I was going through our game cupboard when we were rearranging the house to move in here. And I found a Scrabble board game that we never play Scrabble. And there was a couple other games that we don't play that I was going to donate. And then I thought, oh, I've seen some really cute Christmas ornaments made out of Scrabble pieces. So I started, looking around at the pieces and stuff. Well, this was a Scrabble game that when his grandmother passed away earlier this year, nobody in the family wanted, they were going to donate it. And so we said, yeah, we'll take it, whatever. So I asked with Josh, and he's like, yeah, that's fine. You can use the pieces for crafts, whatever. But when I was going through the Scrabble box to start making like names out of the letters, I found something really sweet. And so I thought I would show you guys in case you have a Scrabble set or find one at a thrift store and you don't play it. It's a great option for a gift. So, the little trays that you put your Scrabble pieces on, right? Well, I found Josh's grandparents' initials written on their little own Scrabble trays. And I thought, oh, I can't donate those. I can't throw those away. Like those are really special. So I was like, what can I do with them? What can I do with them? So I had enough letters to make our last name. So Sovereign is our last name. So Grandma Sovereign. And I thought, oh, I'll make one for Josh, and then I'll make one to send to his parents. This will be their first Christmas without Grandma. And so I did our last name, which is Sovereign. And One's got grandma's initials and one's got his grandpa's initials. And so Josh is going to keep one and we're going to send one to his parents. And they're glued on there. I used, it's really big in the States on crafting channels. E6000, I think is what it's called. I did find it in Canada, although I've looked for it before and had a hard time finding it. But our Walmart did have it for like, I think like $9 or $10 for a tube, versus I know you used to be able to get it in the States at the Dollar Tree for, I guess, $1. So anyway, the thing I learned about using this glue, if you've never used it before, is you have to let it set. 24 hours. So I made those, and then I made some more, what's the word? Like kind of ornament, like little hangers that have the whole family and they're pieced together like a Scrabble board, but with just the pieces. And I've got to add ribbon to them. So I'm not going to show those because not everybody wants their names and their kids' names on the internet, but my dad won't mind. I made one for my dad, Edward, and I can't tell, I'm filming with a new device, so I'm not sure if this is going to be backwards or not, but I'm sure you can read it backwards. It says Edward. And I think I'm going to add I'm going to wrap a little piece of stiff cardboard in like Christmassy looking fabric, and then this will attach to it. So stay tuned. I will try to show that whenever I get it finished on here. And then just a little ribbon or something so it can just hang on his tree. My dad is the perfect person to give Christmas decorations to because he leaves his tree up year round. Like never takes it down. I think it's been up for years, quite literally. And I think when he moved, he just put it in the car and moved it. Like I don't think he even took it down. So, and some of my siblings don't have their own homes yet. They travel around and stuff. So I often send Christmas ornaments at Christmas, and I come and visit and I find they're on Dad's tree as well. So I'm assuming one day when they move out, they'll take them with them, but, or not move out, but when they settle in their own place for good. But yeah, so I thought that is so fun. So I just use that glue too. I've got a bunch more letters. I actually, on a Facebook group I'm on, that you can like give stuff away for free and receive free stuff. I put on there and asked if anybody had old Scrabble pieces, and somebody did from a wedding event. So they were a little bit newer, so the wood is lighter, but it actually kind of makes a cool checkerboard kind of look. So I am super excited. Super, super inexpensive, or even free if you have the supplies already. Christmas gift option, and can be really, really cool personalization. And this one to me, just with the initials, I was just like, I can't not, like, that needs to be saved. So one will stay with us and one will go to my in-laws for just a little memory gift to say we're thinking of them. I always find, even if it's months and months since the person passed, Christmas time is for me anyway, is more emotional. I don't know, it just brings out a different kind of grief. So I was hoping maybe that will be special. So Josh really loved his. So that is all the Christmas goodies I've been making so far that are not cross stitch. Well, actually, I only have one like gift that I'm cross stitching currently. I wanted to cross stitch everyone something, and I'm like, I just don't have time to do that this year. So maybe in the future, maybe I'll start in January cross stitching for next Christmas. That may actually be a really good plan. But yeah, so that is my crafting that's not cross stitch. So I wanted to show you, I have one new start. Someone reached out to me on Instagram and asked if I wanted a free cross stitch kit in exchange for leaving a review on Amazon. It looks like they already sell on a website, but they're trying to get their kits on Amazon, and they have other kits on there, but these are their new line of kits. And I said, yep, it's a designer from not Russia. It's a designer from Ukraine. And I wrote down her name so I don't forget it. Her name is Sasha Luda, and her company I cannot pronounce, and I apologize. I don't think she'll see this, but yeah. So I will share, once I finish the project, I will share it on my Instagram with a little review, because that was the request in exchange for the kit, and I think that's very fair. So she has a bunch of kits for bookmarks, and the one I picked because Josh is really into this, like, you may know what this is before I even finish, because I think it's a very popular series, but there's a book series that's like 27 or 28 books in it. They're full novels about boats, like sailors, and I think it's set in like the 1700s maybe or something. Josh listens to them, and a man with a British accent reads them, and then he does all the different accents because they're in different countries and stuff. And the man who's reading it is sometimes really good at the accent and sometimes Like, there was one where he's reading a Southern accent. I was like, no, that's so bad. But most of his other accents are pretty good. So anyway, Josh loves these books. And so when I saw that they had a pattern for a boat, I was like, oh, now it's the Santa Maria, which is for Columbus Day, has no significance for us. I mean, I know there's historical stuff, but that has no significance for us. But I thought the boat was really cool. I may change the symbols. I don't really know anything about nautical symbols. I don't know if those are historically something to do with the Santa Maria. But I may research that a little bit, but I'll probably change the symbols up a little bit. But I thought, because he loves these books and there's so many of them, so I know he's gonna be reading them a long time. And he still reads a lot of physical books, not just on the Kindle. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna stitch him a boat. So that is going to be one of his little Christmas gifts. And I'm not gonna give it to him early. Guys, check in with me and make sure I don't give it to him early. I want to have something to give him on Christmas Day. Because I already gave him the name thing. So anyway, so this might only start, and this is how far I got. So this is, for reference, just like right in the middle of the pattern. So kind of where that break in the wave is going to be. Super quick to stitch. I think I stitched this in like 20 minutes maybe. I was still sick and just watching Flosstube in bed, and I was like, okay, I need something different. And so yeah, I think it's going to be a super quick stitch, and it has a piece of material just cut out same like this, so you can put them together, and then it's called whip stitching. I don't remember. You do like a little border around. So I think it's going to be super cute, and probably just go right in a stocking. We don't always do gifts, but we always fill each other's stockings. So yeah, and now with having Justin, we're way more focused on what are we going to do for Justin. So Josh made him a set of wooden blocks, and we were going to give him for his birthday, but he's still throwing a lot of things. But the last month or so, he started to kind of go away from throwing things and actually stacking and playing. So I think they're going to come out at Christmas, and they're like a big set. So Josh made all of these homemade blocks, and we made a set, or I say he made a set for our friend's little boy for his birthday this summer, or like in September. And he absolutely loves them. And Justin actually goes to their home for daycare a couple of times a month, so I can go for appointments and groceries and stuff. And he always goes for those blocks at their house. So I think the blocks are ready to come out. So that's going to come out at Christmas, and we're going to make him one of those towers that, if you've seen stuff for kids online, you've probably seen them, but the kid can basically climb up these little steps, like a step or two, into kind of a railed standing box basically, and they stand at the counter and they can help with cooking and just being up where you're at or looking out the window, which he's very interested in doing whatever we're doing. Excuse me. So it seems the right timing to make that his gift this year. So that is my only new start. I have a little bit of haul, just one thing. So with Justin's birthday being this last month, and we were celebrating his third birthday. So Justin, if you see my other Flosstubes, you know our son is adopted. And excuse me, we'll see if I can get here. Okay, hopefully I won't have to pause too many times, but I don't want to be coughing all over the camera. So somebody asked me what time Justin was born. And if you've adopted or are close with anyone who has adopted or know someone who is adopted, you might already kind of understand and know that there's a lot of different seasons of emotion and grief that come with adoption for the child, the birth family, and the adoptive family. And no one's is less important. They're just different. And maybe I would argue that the kids is the most important because they're the one most affected. But so for me, when that question was asked, it was a totally innocent question. I can't even remember who asked me, but I was like, I don't even know what time he was born. And I know that's somewhere in the paperwork. But it actually, I remember crying. I was pretty like sad because I was like, I wasn't there. And, you know, we really do believe that God wrote Justin's story and ours and put them together the way they were supposed to be. And so Justin came home, just like a month and a half before his second birthday last year. So, I don't have those beginning days and those memories of him being born, which I would love to have. I would love to have carried him myself, but that's not the story God wrote. So I went and looked at the pictures that I do have from when he was born, which is a really big gift because a lot of people don't have that piece of their adoption story. So we have that for Justin one day when he's ready to see them. And he already watches. There's a video of him right after he was born crying. He's with the nurses, you know, and he's crying and he's kind of slows down his breathing because he had issues right at the beginning with his lungs and his heart and stuff. And so they're urging him, you know, keep going, keep crying. And Justin loved watching that video. We watched it probably like 6 or 7 times in a row. It's only like a 30-second video, but more is what he kept signing and saying every time it finished. So that was good. That helped me process that. And then I was talking with my husband and I said, I want to mark Justin's birth the same way I would mark any other child I ever had. And I was like, what would I be doing? I would totally be stitching him a birth announcement the same way I'm stitching my friend's for her baby that's coming. And I was like, is it weird to go back and stitch it now? And I was like, you know what? Who makes up all these rules in my head? Me. Like, this is not a rule. Like, you can do what you want, you know? So I was like, Josh, I think I'm going to find a pattern or make one and stitch Justin a birth announcement. And it's probably more for me, but I think one day he'll probably appreciate it and enjoy it. So this is not his name. This is just the pattern that I ended up finding on Etsy. I thought about designing one, but I just didn't have that creative juices going and I wanted to find one. And so this pattern is actually by the same designer that is the one who, let me try that again. The baby announcement one with the birth details that I'm working on for my friend who's having her baby this winter. I went back after like searching all over Etsy for other patterns. I went on 123 Stitch. Like I wasn't finding anything that I liked. And then I was like, I'll just go back to the girl that I found the first one from. And sure enough, I found another one that I really like. So we call Justin Little Bear and he loves to growl, he loves to roar, but he just is our little bear, always has been. And so I found this pattern. And I thought it was the cutest little thing. This part right here is just part of her picture from Etsy. It's not part of the design. So I'm going to stitch this for Justin and we'll frame it and put it in his room. And I usually just buy frames and stuff, but I may actually get this one like done at Michael's, or I think I saw a framing sign. I travel an hour away where there's cheaper groceries a couple times a month. And I saw a sign for a place that said framing. And now I can't remember where it was. I think it was not on the main highway, but like on the French shore. So I gotta do a little investigative driving next time and see. Because I would love to support a small business versus a big box store if I have that option and it's, you know, semi-budget friendly. But so I will chart his, at least his first and 2 middle names. And I haven't decided if I'm going to put in our last name as well because he's 4 names, so it's a lot. So Justin was his name given at birth by his birth family, and then he also has another middle name that we kept, and then we gave him another middle name. So he kept his first two names, and legally his last name had to change to ours, and I'm happy for that. It's good, but if he wants to change it back when he's an adult, he has that choice too. It's okay. And we also gave him the middle name that is Josh's middle name, which is Theodore, and which was his grandfather's middle name, which was really special because his grandma, who is still living, she's our only living grandparent between the two of us now. Her husband was Theodore, and so she told me, she said, I know his name is Justin, but to me he'll always be my little Teddy, is what she said. So she's a peach. I love her so much. So she was very, very excited to meet her little Teddy, Justin. So it kind of fits little Teddy with being little bear. So I just thought it was so simple, but so adorable and very much fitting for our little guy. So I am really excited to start stitching that. I probably will wait till I'm thinking January because I have a lot of other stuff on the go and I don't want to, I know some people have like 30 whips, but I just don't have the capacity to keep up with 30 and I get overwhelmed. So I'm like, 10's good. Josh is like, Sarah, don't you think 9 or 10's a lot like to keep up with and do it all? I'm like, Josh, that's like a really, really small amount compared to like what I'm seeing on most people's Flosstubes. So, but I think everybody should do what they feel is manageable for themselves, works for them. So So on to my actual whips. I just have a few today. I got a lot of stitching on a few. Usually I spread out more and stitch a lot less, but on more. And I just felt like not monogamous stitching by any means, because I have 4 still, besides my new one that I showed you, the boat. But I definitely just focused on it more. So my, I was gonna say my favorite, but I don't know. I love these ones too. My most exciting progress, I guess I should say, because I just love seeing this pattern come together, is my 100 Owls pattern. And I finished, let's see if I can drape this here. I finished this owl, because the last time I had this owl done and most of this motif done. And then, so I finished the bottom of it, and then I stitched his buddy. So now there's a pair, they're friends. And then I thought about going out to the side and working on one of the sides, but I wanted to kind of get the big centerpiece done. It just felt like a huge chunk that was intimidating. So I was like, let's just do it. Let's not avoid it. So I got the wreath done. This was some of my days in bed when I was stitching, when I was sick. So I got the wreath done, and then there's a little, I was like, oh, it's time to start the owl in the middle after I finished the wreath. Nope. I realized there's these little tiny, let me fold this here and see if I can show it better. There's these little flower motifs inside too, which this light is not showing it well, but it's this really pretty, like kind of periwinkly purple color. It's gorgeous. Like, I love everything about this. I'm just really, really excited. So I hadn't touched it since like early September, and I was feeling guilty. I was like, the birds need to come. We need to do the owls. And I keep like saving all these owl patterns that I want to stitch. And I'm like, no, I have literally a pattern with 100 owls in it. Every owl I could want to stitch probably is going to be featured in here. So focus, Sarah. But you know, I really, really enjoyed it. It was fun to stitch. I definitely prefer stitching the owls over the flower stuff, but the flower stuff kind of adds to it and builds it up. So, and I apologize, I cannot remember any of what I'm stitching on, so I will put that details. I'm probably gonna be like that every time. So I will always put those details as best I can remember down in the doodly-doo down below in the box. And if you wanna know what fabric I'm stitching on, you can just click on that. Not click on that, you can scroll down and see that. And I always stitch DMC at this point. I have seen a lot of beautiful floss from other companies, but usually they're more expensive. And I do get nervous at the idea of not buying enough for a certain project and then running out and it being like a very specific dye lot and then like never being able to match it. Like I even find DMC floss that I have from my Nana and great grandma's stash and that I've bought don't always match, like the exact same numbers. And they're the same color, but they've just, I guess, faded over time, or the dye lots are different, or I'm not quite sure. But so that always makes me nervous about buying like very custom floss, is not buying enough and then running out and then not being able to finish something. But I think as I get more experience with figuring out how much I need for a project, then I'll feel a little more ready, I guess, for trying other floss. But I'm excited because I signed up for it's called Kitted Up cross stitch exchange. So there's a couple of people on Instagram who they hosted it, and it's like the signups are gone now. It's too late, but they're going to do another one maybe in the spring or next fall. And basically you pick a level of how much you want to spend, and then you'll get matched with someone in that same level. And basically you have that much money, and you have from October, when we got sent our person's name and Instagram account, we have until January at a certain date to send out our box of crafty goodness for cross stitch. So they give you their 1, 2, 3 stitch wish list or an Etsy wish list or whatever. And then so you pick a pattern, and the category I picked was the top level because it was going to be around Christmas. So we were like, yeah, let's just go all out. Let's have fun with this. I mean, Josh is not going to have fun with it, but he has fun seeing me be excited. So I picked the top level, and so I get $80 US to shop for the lady that I got assigned. And I can't say who it is. I have no idea if she would ever see my channel or not, but so I can't say who it is, just in case they've seen me on Instagram and followed it. But if maybe, I don't think they have a Flosstube, so maybe in the maybe in the winter time, I'll show what I got for her box after she gets it or something. I don't know. That's way too far in advance for me to plan and think that. But, so I'm having fun, like just window shopping currently. I think I've picked which pattern I'm going to do for her. And then I'll buy the material and I'll buy the DMC floss. And actually, I think there's some specialty floss in that one. And then I'm going to find her a matching needle minder, kind of the theme of the pattern. So lots of fun. It's fun to shop for someone else for cross stitching. So yeah, so my next whip is the baby announcement that I'm doing, or birth announcement, or whatever you call these things, for my friend Alita. They're going to have their baby in February. I really should ask her again when the baby is due. But I am making really good progress. Oh, look, guys. So last time the deer didn't even have his eyes. He was mostly finished. His chest, I think, wasn't done. And he looked kind of creepy because he didn't have his eyes yet. And I am just so tickled. So tickled. I'm almost done with the fox now. The deer is finished. I think the orange behind the deer is like some little green, like plant life. I'm not totally sure. I don't remember. And then there's still a bear that's going to be here. And then there's arrows that go in a border. And then down below, there's space to put all of the birth details once the baby's born. So it's a good thing I'm waiting to stitch in all that stuff anyway. One, because I don't have the birth details. But last time they were told the baby was going to be a girl, had a bunch of girl stuff given to them. But thankfully their nursery is very mountain themed. So it was kind of neutral. And baby was born. Baby was a little boy. So I was like, I'm going for something super neutral this time. And so I thought the mountain theme would be great. So super, super cute. That little fox is just, oh, so cute. So that is the same pattern designer that I got Justin's birth announcement pattern from that I'm going to be stitching sometime in the future. So the next one is Autumn Glows by Little Dove Designs on Etsy. They go by a different handle. Still Little Dove something on Instagram, but I can't remember what. But again, I'll put that all down in the description box. So I have hardly touched it. I've just added these 2 circles and I think a little more green right up top. And I added the outline of part of the 2 squirrels. And that's it. So hardly, I was like, do I even bother showing them? Like, it's so little addition to my stitching. But like, usually I'm like milking fall and autumn, like as long as I possibly can. Like, I love autumn. And we celebrate both Thanksgivings because we're in Canada, but I'm from the US. And so, you know, you have a good, like almost 2 months in between, at least a month and a half between the 2 Thanksgivings. So usually like, I'm like pumpkins and leaves, and like the pumpkin stuff stays up well after Halloween. Like, I don't really decorate for Halloween. So it's just all autumn themed, so it definitely just stays up, usually. But this year, I got the Christmas bug like a week before Halloween. Like, my last Flosstube, I was already talking about Christmas. And that's not normal for me. And the last couple of years, excuse me, I've been like, Christmas I'm tired by that time for some reason, not interested in decorating. I'm like, bah humbug, basically. Which is I used to be like, really into Christmas. So this year I'm like, let's do Christmas, like, hence why my tree is already starting to be fluffed. And so I've got it this year. I've got the Christmas bug. So my fall stitching, thankfully I only had one going because yeah, it's probably gonna get put away this week. I thought I was gonna be like a stitcher who just keeps stitching on whatever I'm working on all year. And I think some projects I will, but I think I am a lot more of a seasonal stitcher than I thought I was. So it's kind of funny that I'm learning about myself as I go, but excuse me. So I have one other whip I thought I would show you guys, which is my gingerbread house pattern. If you have a creative name suggestion for a gingerbread house pattern, let me know. And you don't mind me using the name, because so far I've got gingerbread house pattern. Which is so lame. But it tells what it is and gets to the point. But I'm like, there's got to be some fun, exciting name, or just something cuter than gingerbread house pattern. But so if you have, oh my goodness, I am like knocking the crap out of this table and it's shaking the thing. If you have a name suggestion, please let me know. I would love ideas. So this is my gingerbread house pattern. Little reindeer here. He just needs his nose. He's gonna have a red nose. He's gonna be so Rudolph. So this is making the red color look way more fire truck than it is. Let's see if I hold over here if it looks maybe a little bit better there. The light in here is weird, I guess. So this is like much deeper, like think cranberry red. This is not the color red that it's showing on camera. But I am in love with it. I still need to finish stitching in the rest of the door, which is just a little bit, I think I'm using it, I can never say this word right, ecru, however you say it, in the door there. And this is all gonna be white because it's snow. And then just working on stitching up the border. And that'll go on the sides and then the top. And filling in the gingerbread color up here. And then it's gonna be done. And I still think I'm gonna turn it into a little small pillow. But I love it more than I thought I would. Like, I loved it when I designed it. But then I was like, will it stitch up and look good? I just love it. I love doing, I know it's my own pattern, so not to brag. I just enjoy it because it's what was in my head, and it's like painting. Like, I've never been able to paint, but I can design something and then cross stitch it and see it come to life, which is so exciting. So I love this detailing, is one of my favorite parts of it. So I just got to fill the rest of this in. And on the pattern, I have inside of the wreath and inside of this wreath as well, filled in with the light color, like their little windows, like the wreaths are on the windows. And I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that true to the pattern. I may change that and remove that light like it's windows. I'm not sure yet. And then that's why they're not filled in yet, because I haven't decided. And then I'll edit it, of course, on the pattern when it's finished. And then there's going to be window lines with back stitching. So not a ton of back stitching, but I did put some. And then you can see one here. Nope, a bauble did not fall off the tree. There's going to be snow. This lighting is so not showing this off well, but this is a very, very light gold, the same golden yellow that's in the windows. So that's what the baubles are here, and that's actually white because that's a snowflake to match the trim. And yeah, so it's gonna be trimmed out. So I'm hoping to have this finished maybe this weekend. Today is Saturday, the 4th or 5th. What's today? Today's the 4th. So I'm really, really, really hoping to have it finished stitched this weekend, and then I can hopefully sew it up into a little pillow next week. And then I'll release the pattern once it's finished. So that way I can make any final edits on the pattern. But I am just tickled to see it come to life. And then I'm like, I don't have any other Christmas stitching started. So I have the boat that I'm stitching for a Christmas gift, but nothing Christmas themed. So I might have to hunt for some Christmas patterns or make my own. I'm not sure yet. But I've had a lot of fun with this one. It is a very simple stitch, and there is a lot of fill-in. But I've broken it up enough, I think, with the gingerbread designs on it, that it's not like you're stitching for forever. The white does feel like a long time, and you could totally just like make it less snow, but I think that thickness with the border made the most sense to me when designing it. But I basically pull this out and just stitch on this stuff, or the big fill-in chunks when we were playing a board game the other night and I didn't have like a lot of brain power. It was like 11:30 at night. We were only halfway through the game. We finished at like 1 or 1:30. It was so fun though. But I was like, I am so tired. I need something to do with my hands to keep me awake in between turns. But I was like, but I can't count. Like, there's no way this will be frogged tomorrow. And so I just did fill-in stitching up here. And like, I've done it before at like a meeting and stuff where I just fill in. I like to do a lot of half stitches and go back and cross them when it's this kind of stitching. Not when I'm doing like detail stitching at all, but yeah, so it is, it's a fun project. I've really, really enjoyed it. So that is where that is at. And again, if you have a name suggestion, please put it in the comments, even if you think it's silly, because my creative juices on the names for this one are a no-go so far. Really, really boring. So I would love ideas. I've got a nice little pile of my whips now. So yeah, that is all of my whips. I already showed you my ornaments. Trying to think what else I was going to show you. I will release that pattern hopefully next week sometime, and I'll probably just put out a little video on here just to show the finished stitch, and just to say that it's up if you want to purchase my pattern in my Etsy store. For those of you who have purchased some of my patterns already, thank you. It makes my day. And if you ever decide to stitch any of my patterns, if you get like a giveaway or if you get one from my shop, please share as you're stitching them, or when you're finished. I absolutely love to see what people do and their conversions and things like that. Like, because I know I love to do my own spin on things sometimes, so it's fun to see as people recreate your work. And it makes me excited that somebody wants to stitch something that I wanted to stitch. That's the whole thing of Flosstube, right? I think like I see people's patterns they're showing off, whether they designed them or whether they found them from somewhere and they bought them, and then I'm like, oh, I want to be stitching that too, because it's just, I don't know, it's just fun, right? Like it's fun to know that you're stitching things that other people are enjoying stitching as well. And there's, I think, a camaraderie in the idea of like, it's going to be my home too. So we're sharing decorations, but it's not like, nothing wrong with just going to Walmart and buying the same decorations everyone has, but it's kind of fun because it's unique and you put your effort and your heart into it. So I guess that's my Flosstube for today. It's a little shorter than normal, I think, but I did have one more part I wanted to share, and I talked about this in my first Flosstube that I would do this sometimes, and I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, so as a Christian, there are certain things that really encourage me from God's Word and some other resources. So I did want to share a little bit now of just something that's been encouraging me, something I read today that was really encouraging. So if that's not your thing and you don't want to stick around for it, no worries, and I will see you next time. And so I would just like to share that now for those of you who are still here. And if you're here, thanks for sticking around. With being sick, but also just going through different things in life, I am very aware of my weaknesses and find that discouraging when I don't have the energy or the effort to put into something or to offer to something, and I would love to be more involved in something or be more present with energy. I told my husband after we got married, I was like, I used to be the person who would hike the mountain. I would love to go for the hike. And now I'm more on the energy level of like sit in an Adirondack chair and look at the beautiful mountain, but I don't really have the energy to hike it anymore. And that for me is a physical, like chronic illness stuff. But also sometimes there are other areas of life that could be explained the exact same way, where they're emotionally and spiritually different seasons. And just being very aware of my weakness and my raw tiredness and emotions this fall. And so a verse has kept coming to mind that someone shared with me when I was in Bible college, and I was struggling with not having what I felt like was enough to give, and I felt guilty. And she shared this with me, so I just want to share it with you. It's in 2 Corinthians 12, and I would encourage you to read the whole chapter of 2 Corinthians 12, but this specific area is Paul talking about his thorn in the flesh, which my translation does refer to as his vision. I know that's always a conversation I've heard debated of what his thorn was, but here it refers to it as his vision. But starting in verse 5, he says, I will boast about a man like that, referring to who he was talking about in the verses before. But I will not boast about myself, except about my weaknesses. Even if I should choose to boast, I would not be a fool, because I would be speaking the truth. But I refrain so no one will think more of me than is warranted by what I do or say, or because of these surpassingly great revelations. Therefore, in order to keep me from becoming conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, even in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. And I've just been really, really, really reminded this fall that it's not about my glory. It's not about my strength. It's not about my power. Christ is sufficient, and I am not. And we like to think like, oh, God won't give us more than we can handle. But God gives us a lot of hard things sometimes. And the whole point is I can't handle them. There's popular music that says different, but I can't handle them. I am weak. He handles them. And that's why I need him, because he's a gracious and good Father who loves me. So I just wanted to share that. I also, I don't want to make this super long, but I wanted to read, I've mentioned it one other time. It's called Every Moment Holy. It's a book of prayers. And I did not grow up with this kind of liturgy kind of prayer style, but I find it has helped more and more direct when I am praying or when I want to focus on a certain thing, talking to the Lord, keeping my mind focused, because my brain just goes and I'm all of a sudden making a grocery list and thinking about what toy to get Justin for Christmas and thinking about cross stitch and everything else. So I am working through things in my own life, and I'm a big fan of counseling, and I'm dealing with the death of a relationship in my own personal life, which this feels really, really raw to share this, but I think if people shared more of this kind of thing, we'd know it's normal, and we'd know that we're not alone. So that's why I've chosen to share this today. I was really considering, do I or not? And that's why I gave the preface, this is not for everyone. So, but I wanted to share it because it was on my heart. So it's a little long, but I wanted to read it to you. And it's a liturgy for the death of a dream, which I think couldn't be very, very applicable to a lot of life circumstances. But it says, "O Christ, in whom the final fulfillment of all hope is held secure, I bring to you now the weathered fragments of my former dreams, the broken pieces of my expectations, the rent patches of hopes worn thin, the shards of some shattered image of life as I once thought it would be. What I so wanted has not come to pass. I invested my hopes and desires that returned only sorrow and frustration. Those dreams, like glimmering fairy feasts, could not sustain me. And in my head, I know that you are sovereign even over this, over my tears, my confusion, and my disappointment. But I still feel in this moment as if I have been abandoned, as if you do not care that these hopes have collapsed to rubble. And yet I know this is not so. You are the sovereign of my sorrow. You apprehend a wider sweep with wiser eyes than mine. My history bears the fingerprints of grace. You are always faithful, though I could not always trace quick evidence of your presence in my pain. Yet did you remain at work, lurking in the wings, sifting all my splinterings for bright embers that might be breathed into more eternal dreams. I have seen so oft in retrospect how you had not neglected me, but had with a master's care flared my desire like silver in a crucible to burn away some lesser longing, and bringing about your better vision. So let me remain tender now to how you would teach me. My disappointments reveal so much about my own agenda for my life, and the ways I quietly demand that it should play out, free of conflict, free of pain, free of want. My dreams are all so small. Your bigger purpose has always been for my greatest good, that I would day to day be fashioned into a more fit vessel for the indwelling of your spirit, and molded into a more compassionate emissary of your coming kingdom. And you in love will use all means to shape my heart into those perfect forms. So let this disappointment do its work. My truest hopes have never failed. They have merely been buried beneath the shoveled muck of disillusion, or encased in a carapace of self-deserving desire. I have no clue of what carapace means. I need to look that word up. It is only false hopes that are brittle, shattering like shells of thin glass, to reveal the diamond hardness of the unshakable, eternal hopes within. So shake and shatter all that would hinder my growth, O God. Unmask all false hopes, that my one true hope might shine out unclouded and undimmed. So let me be tutored by this new disappointment. Let me listen to its holy whisper, that I might release at last these lesser dreams, that I might embrace the better dreams you dream for me and for your people, and for your kingdom, and for your creation. Let me join myself to these, investing all hope in the one hope that will never come undone or betray those who place their trust in it. Teach me to hope, O Lord, always and only in you. You are the king of my collapse. You answer not what I demand, but what I do not even know to ask. Now take this dream, this husk, this chaff of my desire, and give it back, reformed and remade according to your better vision. Or do not give it back at all. Here in the ruins of my wrecked expectation, let me make this best confession. Not my dreams, O Lord, not my dreams, but yours. be done. And it gives the scripture, for we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus, for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Ephesians 2:10. I hope this is an encouragement to your heart and a challenge to your heart and how you think and pray when God gives you circumstances in life you don't understand. And I say all of that from a place of walking it myself and trying to learn to look at it from this viewpoint. So I hope that you are encouraged, and I hope you are stitching something fun today. And I hope even if this isn't your cup of tea, that maybe you stuck around and something there points you to Jesus and helps your heart. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll just start on a new routine, hopefully back every 2 weeks, but I won't try to get back in the old 2 week, because then I'd be back here next week and I won't have enough stitching to show and make it worth it. So I'll be back again in 2 weeks, hopefully, and hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy your stitching. Bye, friends.